Okay, so the recording is on, and all right. So let's talk about this here. This is where this is really important here. If you master this, and if you say some words about this in the interview, I'll guarantee you got the job. Okay, this is that important. So let's see here. Uh, so we have three physical drives here, right? We added three physical drives here, 1, 2, 3. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine all these three drives into one drive. Okay, and it will act as a one big hard drive here, and then you could make like hundreds of partitions on it if you like. And this is called a logical volume manager. Logical means it's not physical. Logical means it's just in the concept. And you will definitely enjoy how we're gonna use the LVM to make use of this in Linux environment. So logical volume manager, LVM. Okay, so we have three drives here. So here's the definition. Stands for logical volume manager. It's a system of managing logical volumes or file system, which is more advanced and flexible than traditional method of partitioning a disk in one or more segment and formatting that partition with file system here. Okay, the one I showed you so far, the reason I showed that is you should know all this here. You're not going to use this as much compared to the one we're going to use a logical volume manager, but this is the basic one. I thought you should know. That's why I put some time in here. Okay, you could master this also. But whatever we did in here, we're going to use this in logical volume. Okay, so okay, so what is going to happen now is so you can group / combine multiple physical hard drives as single drive or disk. Okay, and you can add or remove physical disk as needed, and you can create multiple partitions as needed, and you can have multiple file system as needed. Okay, file system here is ext4, xfs, and what else we have, swap. Okay, in addition to that, when we went in there and saw like multiple file systems there, right? SDC. Okay, you're gonna go M and list known partition types, L. You could have all these different file partitions on the LVM also. Okay, but you may or may not be running. I mean, I haven't seen anything other than uh, number 8E. I've seen that, and what else I have seen is 82 and 83. Okay, other than that, I have not really seen other file system. Okay, so I'm not worried about it. You shouldn't be worried about this either. So okay, 8E is the one we're gonna be using here, Linux LVM. Okay, so let me clear this. And you can extend and reduce the size of partition on the as needed. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, so we have 3 drives here, right? 3 drives here. It's just sitting there and getting wasted here. So let's do LSBLK list block, and we have SDC, SDD, and SDE. Okay, I explained you right what SDC is. It's gonna start with SDA, SDA, SDB, SDC is gonna go all the way to Z, and then from Z is gonna start all over again. SD, SDAA, SDAB. That's what it's gonna go. But don't worry about it. I mean, if you have more than 26, that's enough. Okay, so okay, this concept is good, right? If I go in there and all of a sudden, if I kill this drive here, what is the number is going to be for this drive? Okay, this one will automatically become SDB, and this will become C and E. Okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay, so we'll just leave this alone. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I
Somebody.
was doing this app disk, and I was just looking at the different file types. How do I get out of this? There's like where it says Command M for help. How do I get out of this?
Uh, I don't know. Yeah, push M there, and then
So if
just
I'm
push
doing
Q
M, it's
here.
giving me
It says Q to quit right there.
Q.
Quit
Oh,
without
okay, yes.
saving.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. Thank you.
Okay, good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this entire disk here and then make it bundle this up into a one big disk. Okay. So let's see how am I gonna do that. Okay, so the command is pv create. Okay, what does pv means is physical volume create. That's what pv stands for. Command is pv create means physical volume create. Okay, all right, so what will happen is, and then what disk you're going to be creating. So the command is let's do lsblk. Okay, so let me copy this here. So the disk we're going to be using is these 3 disks here. We're going to be using these. Okay, so the command is pv create, and then you have to give the name of the disk here. Okay, in this scenario, how am I going to give the disk name of the disk? You have to say /dev /sdb sdc. Okay, then dev /dev sdd /dev sde. Okay, now if you have 20 more, you keep going. You keep going. Okay, you guys are with me so far, right? So I'm gonna hit
Yes, sir.
enter. So what happened here is it says physical volume dev /sdc sdd sde. All 3 are successfully added, created. Okay, so
Sir, I have a question.
yes.
I didn't had SDE, so I typed the command as you wrote. How can I undo this command? Because it said that SDE obviously didn't exist. So for me, it was SDB, SDC, SDD. I should have stopped at SDD. So he has only clubbed 2 drives, which is SDC and SDD. So how can I undo and do it again?
Run the same command again and then edit it. And make sure all 3 drives are in there again.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Can you go off mute, please? What I'm gonna do here is let's dissect this here. Okay, so this command here is this is the command and raw disk. Okay, the command is pv create. Okay, and the disk is dev /sdc dev /sdd dev /sde. Okay, so I'm gonna do control B italics, and then I'm gonna say use the disk as per your system. Okay. 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 Now, what you want to do is you want to take a look. All three drives are added in there. So the command is PV display. PV display is physical volume display. Okay, so it will bring that up here. So this command is going to display everything in there. Okay, so PV display will also show you dev SDA2. Okay, and dev SDE. So it's gonna give you 24 GB. Okay, and SDC is 16 GB, and SDD is 8 GB here. Okay, so we're not worry about this command too much. And also see, it gives you a lot of information here. PV name, and we don't have a volume group name here. So let's see if this one has a volume group name. So it has a volume group name. The reason this is showing up here, SDA2 is showing up here, right? SDA1 is not showing up. SDA2 is showing up here. Why is it showing up here? Why SDA1 is not showing up here is SDA2 partition is using LVM. Okay, so yeah, don't stress too much on that one here at this moment. Okay, so I'll show you. So now what we have here is we have 3 disks which are ready here, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to group them. Okay, so we're going to group them. So what we're going to do is VG stands for volume group, create. Okay, and here I'm gonna give the name, volume group name, ZMPT. Okay, if you want, usually you will give this as a Oracle database, Oracle DB, or OraDB in your job environment here. Okay, so this is meaningless here. Once you determine what it is, you could just give it, you're just giving the name to the group. ZMPT 1. Let's give ZMPT 1. And then I have to add the devices in there, okay? So what are the devices I'm going to add? /dev/sdc dev/sdd dev/sdc. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. No, not C. E. D, C, D, E. Okay. All right, good. So I'm going to put this down here. And this information here is Control B, italics. This will display LVM disks. Okay, so now what we did was VG create, right? So let me do this here. Okay, and okay, so I'm gonna dissect this command here. So this is command, and this is group name. Okay, and this is raw disk. Okay, get this. Okay, so what is the command? VG create is the command, and then ZMPT1. This is going to be the group name. And this is slash dev SDC dev SDD dev SDE. Okay, so I'm just doing this so that you should know how this is working. Okay, and let me clear the screen. So what you could do is, we did VG display, right? There is another command called VGS, volume group. Okay, so let's hit volume group. So VGS stands for volume group show. Okay, so the volume group CentOS is showing here. Why is it showing here? Because this part CentOS is being used as a VGS here, and then it has a root in it and swap in it. So I'll come to that here, don't get confused. So let me clear the screen. You type VGS here, so you get like a quick short information here. Is VG means volume group name. We just created, what we created, volume group name is gonna be ZMPT1. And here it says PV, that means physical volume. How many we have in there? 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's accurate. Logical volume, we don't have any. And then it says attributes, so don't worry about this. Volume size, it says about 47 GB. Okay, so it's a little bit reserved here. So let's see how much is this here. This is 24 plus 8 is how much? 32 plus 16. How much is supposed to be here? Okay, 16 plus 24 plus 8, right? So it says here 47.99 here. Okay, so always remember, a disk, a physical disk, it says if it's 48 GB or okay, if you go out and buy an iPhone, right, it says 64 GB iPhone. That doesn't mean you have like a full exact 64 GB available to you, because the operating system is sitting on it and then system files are sitting on it. So by the time you get a brand spanking phone, it doesn't have any data. You would have only 50 GB available or something like that. Okay. So the idea I'm trying to tell you is not the full disk is going to be available for you. The reason being is there would be some metadata sitting on the disk. So if this is there, so don't sweat too much about it. If this information is, as long as you're near close to the the size, then you're good. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, I'm gonna give you a pause here. Let me know if you have any questions, because this, you have to drive this concept home. It's really important here, because if you're gonna get lost in LVM, then it's gonna be really difficult for you. Okay, because this is the heart and soul of your Linux administration. Okay, so okay, if you want to see a detailed information here, what you could do is you could do VG display. Okay, the previous one we did was we did PV display, physical volume display. So it's going to display everything here. So you do VG display and then you hit enter. So it's going to bring everything to you here in the system. So what we're going to do is we're going to do VG display and then we're going to give the name of the volume group ZMPT1 and hit enter. So what is happening here is it's restricting only to ZMPT1 here. So it says the volume group name ZMPT1, format LVM, metadata area 3. Okay, metadata sequence is 1. Volume group access is read and write. Volume group status resizable. That means you could make the sizes. So it says current PV is 3 and actual PV is 3, and volume group size, it's adding everything in here and it's giving us, it's the volume group is 48 GB here. Okay, and PE size is 4 megabyte, mebyte. So don't worry about this, it's not usable. And this information here is UUID is UUID. You all know what UUID is, right? I already told you. UUID is universal. Oh God.
Yes, sir. You said that.
Okay, yeah. Let me just go up here. Uh, right here. Did I mention what exactly UUID means? Is
I don't think you gave the definition, but we did the labeling. There it was UID.
yeah, right here. Yeah, UUID. So it's okay. Universally unique identifier. Okay, that's what it stands for. Okay. Okay,
Sir, I have
so
a question.
yeah,
So, you mentioned in this list above, what is this metadata areas?
metadata. Remember, it has a it has some information here. Uh, Metadata is a set of data that describe and give information about other data. So let's see here. Let me go into pictures. So the metadata is, for example, what is metadata? Metadata is nothing but properties, okay? So how do I explain this? Let me go in here. Okay, this information is considered a metadata. We know it's just ZMPT1, but look at this, how much information is coming up with it. So this information is sticking with it somewhere, right? So it's going to take up some space. So for example, if I go in here, if I go into a hard drive and go into properties here and general tools hardware. Okay, let's do this here. Let's look at the metadata for this master file here. Uh, Let me create a file here. Let me create a text file here. Okay, I just created a blank text file here, right? Now, if I go into properties here, um, it has all these details here. Look, okay, if you go in details here, it has like the file name, type, path, size, all these here. Usually, it's a lot more information. So where is this? This is all considered a metadata. It's like information about that file here. Look at this here. This is only 0 KB. It's nothing, 0 bytes. It's not even being used, but it is still, it comes with the metadata. That means it comes with some information here. So all these things are necessary for the system to write onto the file here. Similarly, there is some information that need to be write on the hard drive itself. Even the hard drive is blank, it need to write itself onto a hard drive itself, the information about it. Your metadata in computer terms is your name, first name, last name, your date of birth, your education credentials, all those things are metadata. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that's a good information.
So, sir, according to this information, we have like three areas where metadata is saved, and that it has some sequence which is just one, isn't it?
Yeah. So three areas means this is like it's spread gonna be three physical drives, and then sequence means it's gonna be all three are bundled into one now. Okay, so this drive here, now we have, okay, so what I did was Now we have a whopping 48 GB here, and the name is ZMPT1. So this is one big drive now, one big 48 GB drive. The base is the base is not going to be whatever the base is going to be ignorable. What you're going to have is you're going to be looking at the size now. ZMPT1 is 48 GB. Now this is a plain blank raw disk now, 48 GB. So let me fill this with color. Okay, which now this is 1 and these are 3. Metadata could be written up on 3 places, 3 drives. That's what it is. But don't stress too much on this, the output information here, okay? So okay. Okay, so don't worry about this. The only thing you have to worry about is this UUID. And when you're troubleshooting, you could want to see how many disks are in there. Okay, this information and what else is readable, writable. This information. And then most of the time, this is very important here. So the highlighted area is really important for you and the format. I mean, it has to be LVM for you to be able to use this as LVM here. Okay, for here, PV display, you could also do PV display. You could type ZMPT1 here. Fail to find device for the physical volume. Oh. But you could do PVS, right? PVS. So I think you have to use a physical PV display, and then you type dev. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the option here, but don't worry about this. Don't worry about this at this moment. Once you learn this here, you will learn how to do this here. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make a first partition out of this, okay? I'm gonna make one partition in here, okay? So let's see here. I'm gonna make a partition. So the command to create a partition here is LV, logical volume, create. Okay, then you do -n, that means new, and you have to give the logical volume name. Okay, so this partition is going to be used by accounting group, so I'm going to give accounting, and then what kind of partition is this going to be? You're going to say L -L, capital L, that means logical. And what is the size you want to give? I'm going to give 10 GB. Okay, and then where are you carving this out of? Where are you cutting this out of? You're cutting this out of from ZMPT1. Make sure you do capital G for 10 GB. ZMPT1 and hit enter. So what happened here, it says logical volume created. So in here, I'm gonna split two, and here this part is 10 GB accounting. Accounting is 10 GB. Okay, so we have a partition here now. So to create one partition, what were we doing here? We have to hoop through how many commands? And one command LVM is created the partition here. We want to create partition 1, we did 4 GB on all that, but we have to go hoop through so many commands here, okay? So we have one partition here which is about 10 GB, and let me put a color in there. What is this, dark red? Alright, dark red is fine. Okay. So this is the command here. Let's dissect this command here. VG display. Okay, so what is happening here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have command, and the command is lv create. Okay, and the second one is new. You do -n. Third one is accounting. Okay, just the name here, okay? Logical volume name. And logical, it will tell you -l. And size, how much is the size, is 10 GB. Okay, and then ZMPT1 is volume group name. Okay, so let's see here. why is volume group here? Where is this coming from here, right? We created a volume group earlier. I see. So we created here volume group here, right? So when we created a volume group here, it just became the one big volume, and out of that we are putting cutting it up now. Okay, now we don't have to worry about this partition here. So if you do lsblk, what will happen is it will randomly put this on the disk here. So you see here SDC is putting this on SDC here. Okay, so the size of SDC is 16 GB here. So it went in there and then put this on 16 GB. So it put this on 16 GB because 10 GB is less than 16 GB. So it's put it in there. Okay, let's go ahead and create more drives in here. Okay.
Sir, I have a question. So, one reason why it created an SDC is because it was 16 GB and the logical drive that we are creating is 10 GB, or because it was the first drive available and it created that over there.
It's random.
It's random. Okay.
Okay, you never know how it's going to calculate it because LVM is I mean the software is written so versatile. It just randomly it just randomly picking it up for you. Okay, it could have done on SDE. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. So give me 1 second here. Yeah. It's the charger. Okay, so let's play around with this here and let's create more here. So this is good, right? The command I explained you good enough here. So now what we could do is you could also run this command here, lv display. Okay, now so far we did this here. So what we're gonna do is lv display is gonna show all the volumes in here, even the CentOS. But let's clear this and let's do lv display. Okay, and then ZMPT1. So right now it's giving you as the logical volume display information here, only this restricted to ZMPT1 here. So now we have the accounting partition is called dev/ZMPT1, and in there is accounting. Okay, logical volume name is accounting, volume group name is ZMPT, and it created its own UUID, and it created is write access, read write. And then what is this? LVM creation host time. It got a timestamp on it now, and it got LVM status available. I don't know what that is. LVM size 10 GB. Current LE and all this I don't normally put any concentration, give any attention to it, but I don't know what all this here, read write sector auto and all this. But this part, don't worry about this. This is just informational here. When you come for troubleshooting, you're not going to be worried about too much all this here. You will be worried about only the size and then the name and then the path, these three information here. So let me just copy this. Okay, so So you only worried about this much information here, and this is what it is. Okay, and now what else? Yeah, Don't worry about too much about it here. Now you can make the file system here. Okay, how are we gonna make the file system? You do lsblk and no, not here. How I'm gonna see the file system? blk id. Okay, so in here, let's see what I'm looking at. Swap, CentOS, and ZM. SDB, SDC. So it's not showing up LVM information here yet. So we have to create the file system here. So it's the same command. The file system creation command is independent of fdisk and LVM. Okay, so mkfs dot xfs. Okay, I haven't used ext4 in a while here, about 4 or 5 years. Nobody's using ext4 anymore. And then now you have to give the path. You have to tell the which file system you want to do. Okay, earlier we used SDB1, SDB2, or SDB3, right? So here, this is what you're gonna give. The file system path is this. So it's gonna be mkfs slash. Okay. So it's gonna be dev. It's not gonna be SDC. It's gonna be ZMPT1 now. Okay, make a note of this. It's not gonna go up. So for the LVM, all this is meaningless for LVM. It's not gonna see this here. It's gonna see only this here, ZMPT1. So dev slash ZMPT1 accounting. Okay, so I'm gonna make mk dot mkfs make file system, and which one you want? xfs. Alright, I don't need to explain this much, right? You already know. mkfs. Yep, it created that for you. So I'm not gonna be even so this is the metadata. Is gonna write all this here. It's gonna don't worry about this metadata and all that here. All you have to worry about if you are like a scientist or something. But don't worry about that. The size, sectors, bit size. I think I explained you already here. If it's going to be bit size is 4K, this is the least amount of size is going to use on the disk. Block. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't stress too much about it. The only thing is you have now created the file system here. So let's clear this. Do lsblk. So what is the information here? There is no new information here, right? Let's do blk id. Now blk id, when you do blk id, so let's see here. Okay, right here, dev slash mapper. Okay, now here's another thing here. The block ID is represented when you see slash mapper, that means this is LVM, logical volume. Even if you see the one which is created by the system here, it says mapper here. Let me clear the screen. When you are troubleshooting, when you see mapper here, this is a logical volume, logical partition. It gave its new ID here, and here is the type XFS. All right, good. So you do, for information, you type LSBLK and you type BLK ID. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this. Mount. Now mount the LVM partition. So you type LV display ZMPT1. Okay, so this is what we're going to use to mount it, the path. So before that, I'm going to create a directory mkdir accounting. What am I creating here? There is a term, it's called, when I'm mounting here, mount, and then I'm going to type this in here, dev/accounting /accounting. What is this referred to as? It says mount point. Okay. The file already exists. And mount point accounting does not exist. What does it mean? Okay, so accounting is there, right? Oh, I think, are we already using it for something else? We're not using accounting for anything, right? So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to rm-rf/accounting. Okay, ls-l. Okay, so I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to mkdir/accounting. Okay, so I didn't get any error. And now I'm going to run the command mount dev/zmpt1 accounting, right? Okay, so it worked now. All right, I don't need to explain this, right? You already know. If I do dff and h, now you see this drive is mapped here. So here's the monkey wrench here. It says mapper here, so you just have to remember this is LVM here. And it's 10 GB, 33 M, and then accounting here, okay? So let's quickly create more partitions here. And let's see here. Let's follow this here. So I'm going to create another one here, LV create. LV create. LV create. And I'm going to do -n. And I'm going to give the name finance. Okay, -l for logical, capital L. And then I'm going to give the size 10 GB. Okay, so the 20 is gone, 10 GB. And and then what I'm going to do is yeah, and then it's coming out of ZMPT1. Okay, finance is created. I'm going to create another one here, HR. Okay, and then I'm going to give it 8 GB here. I'm going to create another one here that says recruiting. Another 8 GB. Okay, so let me copy all this here.
Sir, I am having an error if I'm doing creating more names, more drives like finance. It is saying inconsistent volume group names given and in brackets and ZMPT1.
Yeah, make sure you're giving it the correct name.
So I only created the logical name as ZMPT1.
Okay.
So I'm just giving the same name. So I don't know what mistake I'm making. Uh,
All right, give me 1 second here. Let me finish this, and then I'll look into that. Okay, you know what? Let's take 2 minutes break here. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm back now. So, all right. So I created here. I created a split cell 3. So I created finance. How much? 10 GB. And then You guys hear me, right? HR 8 GB, and what else I created is recruiting. How much? 8 GB. So how much I have here? I have 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8. 36 minus 48. Okay, I still have 12 GB sitting there. Okay, so let me do finance is 10 GB and 8 GB. Why is this shrinking? So if you could imagine visually here, so the finance is 10 GB, HR is 8 GB, and 12 GB is available. Is 12 GB. Okay, so let me put some colors in here. Finance is green, and human resource is blue. Recruiting is all right, let's go up here, blue, or gray, and then 12 is available here, right? So let's do bold here. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you do LSBLK. So now what you see here is, remember I told you it's gonna used up. So it's using up after 16 GB. It's using the recruiting part on SDC and SDD. And so it's going in order here, but it's random here. Don't trust this. This is only randomly showing up here, okay? So let me copy this here. No, I'm not worried about this here. So I'm gonna clear this, and I'm gonna make the directories here. So I think the finance is already showing here, right? CD ls. I think I'm gonna remove this. So I'm gonna create a folder named finance. Yeah, you got a question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was able to run the command. I was doing a little slight mistake. So by mistake, I put all the different sections that you made, like finance, HR, recruiting, as 10 GB. So if I have to now
Good.
make it like 8 GB as you did.
Don't worry about this. I'll show you how to extend and reduce those. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna say rm-rf rf hr. Okay, so mkdir/hr, and then mkdir recruiting, right? recruiting. So I made these directories here. mkdir hr. MKDIR recruiting. I think I should make this in this directory. So I have here accounting is here, recruiting is here, finance is here, and HR is here. So I'm not worried about this. Now what I'm going to do is mount. It's the same command here. So the mounting is, you use the same command, and here you type finance, and this is going to go into the finance directory. And then here, what is this? Here is HR, and you do HR directory here. Oh, okay. So I am jumping the gun here. So what we have to do is, we have to make the file system here. So I do history.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm listening.
Sir, when I was doing MKDIR and like you did slash so like MKDIR slash recruiting or something. So it's actually not creating a folder there. But when I'm doing MKDIR and removing the slash, it is creating the folder. So is there a difference if I put a slash? Will a folder, because it's not giving an error as well?
We'll go into the root directory and see if the folder already exists.
Yes.
If it does take,
I'm in the root actually right now, like you are, but the folder doesn't exist.
so you type mkdir space slash hr.
Yes, yes, and it didn't do anything, and it didn't give any error as well. But it didn't create the directory. When I do ls, it doesn't show anything. But if I do
Do
mkdir,
ls space slash root hr, because if you're doing slash hr and just hr, it makes a difference, right? It's creating a different directory in different place. What is a pwd?
so my pwd is root.
Your pwd is just root, right?
Yes, slash root.
Okay, yeah, hold on, let me just finish this here, okay?
Sure.
Now you created the directories and all this, now you're gonna mount it. Okay, so you do mount. So you mount the finance, you mount the HR, and you mount recruiting. Okay, so and you do df-h. Okay, this part is uh, and then you do blk clear df-h. Okay, now you see all these are nicely mounted here. Okay, now what you have to do is, so you think, is this gonna survive the reboot? What are we gonna do if the system reboots? What are we gonna do to make it persistent?
We need to add an FS tab.
Very good. So what you have to do is, you have to come in here and add in the FS tab here. So how are we gonna do that? It's pretty simple. So you come here and let's see here. I'm gonna quit. We do lsblk or blk id. Okay, so you copy this information here. Accounting, finance. So we already have it here. So I'm going to clear this. So I'm going to vi etc fs tab. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open a new line. And then I'm going to copy this. Okay, he's gonna. Okay, and in here, I'm gonna say the point accounting. Okay, and the file system XFS defaults and 00. Okay, now I'm gonna do YY. See how fast I'm going? This is the reason I asked you guys to for the VI editor. Okay, so all I have to do is just change it to finance. Here is gonna be HR. And HR. Here is gonna be recruiting. RECUTING. Okay, you gotta be careful with the spelling also. I made a mistake here in recruiting, so you have to type same exact. So you copy, save and exit. Okay, you clear, you do mount-a. Okay, so when you do mount-a, it's gonna load from the VI is gonna load from the etcfs tab. I didn't get any errors. So what you could do is you do DFFNH. Let's unmount it. You mount accounting. You mount finance. You mount HR. You mount recruiting. DF-H. Nothing is there. Now I do mount -A, and it's mounted from the it is mounted from the FS tab here. Okay, so you all good now. Okay, yeah, give me a team viewer.
Okay, sir.
Can you minimize my window? Okay. Okay. Yeah, can you minimize the YouTube and all that in the background?
Yes, sir. Just a minute. So, sir, this was what I was doing. So when I was doing uh, MKit, so I made like whenever I make with a backslash, it isn't creating any of this sort. Like I tried to create Tabish, it didn't do. When I did like
Okay.
MKTR Danish, it is creating.
Type ls space slash. Enter. Okay, I see finance HR in there. Tabish is in there. Recruiting is there. Is there.
Yes, sir.
So if it's already there, it's not
So,
gonna
but
create.
so, sir, when I'm doing ls LA, it is not showing these folders.
Dude, what is a PWD?
So root.
No, that's not root. It's a root slash root. And you already created a
Slash.
folder in slash. You are in root home directory. And you already created,
Okay.
do ls-l, ls space -l. No, no, bring that command back again. Then space slash root. Hit enter. No, don't type root. Hit enter. Now you see the Tabish is there, recruiting. Yeah, you all good.
Okay, sir. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so far we did so much here, right? So what we're gonna do is now I'm gonna show you how to extend the size of the volume group. So right now HR is here, right? HR is full here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a command that will stimulate that the disk is full. right now let's look at HR. HR is about 8 GB, it's only 1%, and available is 8 GB. Can you go on mute, please? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a command here. It's called, I'll officially explain this a little later. dd slash dev slash 0 byte size input file equals. Can you go on mute, please, everybody? Output file. I'm creating a huge file here named Zafar 4096 byte size equal 4096 and count equals plus 8 GB. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm filling up the disk space here and root Red Hat. Oh God, I did it in the wrong place. Okay, I have a file named Zafar which is like 9 GB here, right? Let me rm/rf. I'm gonna go into the folder HR. Here I'm gonna run this command. Okay, look here. This size is increasing here. So the size is 4 GB. HR is 50% used. Okay, only 2% is left now. Okay, 2 GB is left. So it's been used 98%. So now, if you look at HR here, the size is 8 GB, used is 8 GB, and available is 20K, and it's 100% used, okay? So what we need to do is, somebody is complaining that the disk is full. So what you need to do is, you need to extend the size of the disk. So let's see here, the disk is full. Okay. And the disk is full, right? Everybody agree the disk is full?
So what is that command doing the dd if?
It's randomly filling up the disk about 8 GB. It created a 8 GB file.
Okay. So does this Zephyr file needs to be present on the server or doesn't need?
Okay, see, look at the dd command. I'll go over officially here. Okay, for now we have a file, 8 GB file here. And the size of the disk is what? 8 GB. And there is nothing left on this here. So we need to extend the size here, okay? From 8 GB, somebody want to extend the size here, okay? So what I'm going to do is, uh, usually you get a ticket, somebody tells you that, oh, the size is full. Can you extend the size of the drive 8 GB? And they will tell you how much you want to extend it to. Okay, so then you do this calculations here. Okay, so you do df and h. Okay, now what I'm going to do is extend the logical volume. Okay, here's the thing here. If you see this intimidating, don't be freaking out with this here, okay? Don't think this is way too much for you. Actually, it is not. Just follow these commands here and you will get it. And I'm here to help you, okay? So practice this. This is really important, I'm telling you. Okay, so let's extend the volume. So somebody is crying about it that the human resource folder is full. We need more space. Okay, so you come in here and see, okay, you run the command, this is full, so they will tell you how much they need. Usually the size of the LVM is terabytes, thousands of terabytes. You have unlimited space here. So you come in here, you clear, you go back here. So what you need to do is, disk is full here. So now what I'm going to do is determine determine free space now. So how you gonna determine free space? Oh man, I'm sleepy.
We can do VGS and it will show
Yeah,
free
very
space.
good. You do VGS or you do VG display, ZMPT1. Okay. So you type VGS or ZMPT1, and you determine here that current volume are 4. That means we have 4 partitions. This is 3. And no, yeah, don't worry about those here. So volume groups is how much is used up here is 36 GB is used and 12 GB is available here. Okay, so let's add another 4 GB. Another 4 GB to the disk here. HR is going to be added 4 GB here. Okay, so split 2 and this is going to get extended here. And
Sir, I have one question.
yeah, go ahead.
If suppose if ZMPT1 there is no free space in that disk as well, but suppose in CentOS there is some free space. Can we extend from CentOS?
No, I'll show you how to do that. That's actually next topic.
Okay.
Okay, good. Uh, so add 4 GB here. So it's going to be 12 GB. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the command So you run this command here, vg display and vgs. Run the command here, vgs and vg display. Okay, so the command is uh, the command is lv logical volume extend, extend. Okay, then hyphen capital L, that means logical volume, plus number 4 G. So I'm adding another 4 gigabytes. Okay, and then where am I adding to? Dev slash in here. Now you have to give mapper. So you do df-h and you copy this here, the HR part. So lv extend hyphen L logical volume plus 4G, and then where you want to extend is dev slash mapper slash zmpt 1 slash HR. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter, and it says logical volume HR has changed from 8 GB to 12 GB, and it's successful. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, so let's do this here. Now then there is a command here. So if you do dff and h, it still says 8 GB here, 8 GB here, right? But there is another command, you have to make it. So the command is xfs underscore grow, growfs. xfs grow file system, that means increase the file system. And which file system you want to increase? You want to increase dev slash mapper, this file system here. Okay, and hit enter. Now if you do dff and h, now you see the 12 GB. Okay, any questions? Okay, all right, I was gonna go a little bit over, but I think we can't because next topic is pretty big. You still have question for me? Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and we'll pick it up next week here. Everybody, please use the chat group. If you have any questions, put it in there, okay? All right.
Sir, is any assignment for this week or?
No, finished. You finished that one, right? Did you finish that?
Yeah, I finished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did a very good job. I looked at it. There are a couple things
Thank you.
I will go over it, but I'm waiting for everybody else to finish. Then I'll go over it. Okay. Everybody try to start a assignment this week, and then I'll assign the another assignment as needed. Okay. All right. I'm gonna end here, and I will. If you have any question, put it in the chat. All right. You have a good day, good week, everybody. Bye.
You too.
Okay, sir. Thank